Hey everyone, SETEMA GALI here, the Reverend of the Revolution, bringing the heat from the heavens to your heart, because where your heart is where your treasure is. I want to welcome you to the Google Hangout. I'm broadcasting from Laguna Beach, California, from my bedroom here at the Surf and Sand. And I told you we'd be hanging out at the beach, and literally, we're on the beach hanging out. So this will be a real simple hangout. I want to thank you all for being here, and let's just jump right into this thing. You know, the Surf and Sand here, Laguna Beach, the rooms in I don't share this to brag or to boast or even to impress you, but they run about $400 to $500 a night. And it wasn't too long ago, after having been here for the last most of this week now, it's Thursday today, but what has happened is, several years ago, I couldn't even imagine being at a hotel like this. You see, it was 4:45 5 years ago, literally 5 years ago in May of 2009. And my alarm clock goes off at 4:45 a.m. in the morning. And what ends up happening is I look at my phone, I get dressed, and my wife and I would jump in the car, and she takes me to the airport. And on the way to the airport, I'm thinking about all the long, hard hours of practice playing football, back to high school, back to junior high. The practice, the lifting weights, the sprints, the sacrifice, the weight room, the weightlifting, missing family vacations, missing a lot of things because I wanted to be the best in football. Then eventually going on to the New England Patriots and being a part of the Super Bowl. Tom Brady. And on that drive to the airport 5 years ago in 2009, my mind was racing. My heart was hurting because I was on my way to New York City to sell my Super Bowl ring. Now, the conversation even starts earlier than that. I come home from the NFL, find myself having lost my money and mismanaged my money. So I jump into the mortgage empire, the mortgage industry, and create this mortgage banking empire and go on to make a lot of money. But see, here's the ironic thing. While I'm driving my Mercedes Benz, and I miss it, but it was a fun car while I had it, a $200,000 Mercedes with my Escalade, and I bought my wife the Range Rover. We're living in this big old home down in Provo, Utah by a place called Seven Peaks. I was making money hand over fist, and yet I was still empty, still searching. So I walked away from the mortgage industry into real estate into real estate investing, into hard money lending. And of course, when the mortgage collapse took place, I found myself empty and broken and depressed and discouraged. And then back to the story I opened up with, flying to New York City to sell my Super Bowl ring. Now, about this time, because I'm a hustler and a hard worker and a competitor, I keep trying to build this business of coaching or speaking or writing books and doing internet marketing and doing all these different things. And I find myself in South Carolina knocking doors for a living, looking up to the heavens. Take a look at the skies up there. This is Laguna Beach. Looking up to the heavens and thinking to myself, is this as good as my life gets? In my mid-30s, college graduate, Super Bowl champion, mortgage empire, and I'm knocking doors now. But because I'm a competitor, I put everything I had into it. And for 3 summers, I knocked doors as a door-to-door salesman. One of the greatest experiences of my life. I loved it. Mad props and love to all the boys knocking doors right now, because it was a bit of a refiner's fire. But here's the thing. I then now had a lot of money again, on track to make a lot of money. The culture where I was working was phenomenal. Life was incredible. And here's the crazy thing. There was a voice inside of me that said, SETEMA, it's time to move on. Now, I know that there was a distinction because, and it wasn't just me, because after my first year of knocking doors, I was like, I'm never doing that again. And the voice said, yes, you are. After my second summer, I said, I'm never doing that again. And the voice said, yes, you are. And after the third summer, I said, I'm going to dominate this thing, and we're going to go and make millions of dollars. We're going to build teams and sail off into the ocean, into the horizon, and life is going to be incredible. And then the voice spoke to me and said, it's time to move on. It's time to walk away. Now, for some of you watching this, you know, you may think, well, what's the big deal with that? Well, my wife, who has been with me every step of the way, from having the comfort and financial security to the EBT government assistance to selling her wedding ring and borrowing money from our parents trying to figure out life. My wife looks at me and says, are you sure? Are you sure that this is what we're going to do? Are you sure you want to leave? And the fact is, the reason why she was asking that was that she did not want to leave knocking doors because it brought us in so much money. See, men, I get it. Our wives, I know what my wife wants. She wants to know that she can look into the bank account and see 12 months of reserves and be like, sweet, go do whatever you got to do, baby. And she's good. But she looked at me, and there was a point in time, in fact, here she is right here. Come say hi, my love. Brought my wife down here to Laguna Beach with me. This is my beautiful goddess.
Hello.
So we're just hanging out over here, and I love you. And as she's standing here, I can tell the story. And she's like, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. And she says, I don't want to go back to being broke. Now you can imagine me as a man, as a provider, as a creator, as a producer, a warrior, looking at my wife, and I had a decision. I was like, well, I guess I could go back to knock doors, but the voice inside of me was so clear. I was called. I have always felt called to preach a message of liberation, of freedom, of living your life on fire and living a life that you love. So as my wife is crying her eyes out in our bedroom, saying, I can't do this anymore. I don't want you. Please, do you know what you're doing? I looked at her in the eyes, just like this. Then I said, baby, I got this. I got this. I got this. And I knew that if I was going to succeed, there was one thing I absolutely knew that I needed to do. So I went in search of a coach. And I hired a coach in October of 2013. Now, this wasn't the first time I had hired a coach. Back in my mortgage days, I hired a coach to help me to explode my income, and he did. I then hired other mentors and began to attend seminars and workshops because I am the person who wants to exceed at the highest levels. I want to succeed. I want greatness. I want a great lifestyle. I want to impact other people, and I want to be in a position where when someone says, hey, SETEMA, can you help me out? I can say, sure. How much do you need? I get it. There's a lot of gurus out there who say, you should never lend anybody money. There's just sometimes when people, the best thing you can do for them is to write them a check. Yet, because I sold my Super Bowl ring and struggled, because we were bankrupt, I couldn't do it. So to walk away from potentially a high six figures and then, of course, into the seven figures, as a salesman, as a manager and a leader, that was true humility for me. It was listening to the voice, listening. See, you would have thought that selling my Super Bowl ring was a wake-up call. I can't believe I'm selling my ring. Wake-up call, hello. The fact is I was trying to build my business back in 2008, 2009, 2010. I took the cheap route. Let me watch some YouTube videos. Let me buy some cheap books and cheap products, and I'm going to build this $1 million business on the foundation of being a cheap bastard. That didn't work. I didn't want to do that again. So when I walked away, back in October, about 8 months ago, I hired a coach, and I paid a lot of money. It was an expensive, like a lot of money. It's what you would pay, it's like what a school teacher makes. It's a lot of money to pay for coaching. But I knew what I wanted. I had gone to the Super Bowl, broke. Mortgage empire, broke, bankrupt, discouraged, depressed. And I began to think in those times, is this as good as life gets? Now, maybe some of you watching this may be the same thing. It may be, well, maybe this is as good as life gets. Some of you in your 40s, some of you in your 50s, 60s, and some of you in your 20s still searching as I was searching for my holy cause, my life's mission. And what ended up happening was I hired my coach, and I was humble enough to go and do the work. I then hired another coach in December, and then I hired another coach in January. Now here's the ironic thing. 5 years ago, I went and sold my ring. 8 months ago, I had enough money to go buy my ring 5 times. And instead of going to buy my Super Bowl ring, I chose to go and invest in myself and work with coaches. Now here's why. I know what I want. Here's my question. Do you know what you want? And that would be the first question I would ask you to consider. Do you know what you want? What do you want? Like, what type of life do you want to have? I said I'm going to train, and I'm going to train. Here we go. What do you really want to have in your life? And I like, want to have more money? I'd give you $1 and you have more money. That goal is accomplished. That's not a real goal. What's the target look like? Like, what would get you excited and on fire? I want you to think about something. If you're not clear, you never hit your target. You hit a target, like when you're shooting an arrow, imagine this, okay? Here we go. Pull my arrow back. Just because it doesn't hit the intended target, it doesn't mean that it misses. You always hit targets, always. Man, I love that beat. And so I got clear about my targets. I got super clear about my targets. What did I want to have in my life? What type of lifestyle? What kind of income? What do I really want to have? And as I walked away from my high-paid job, where I felt a lot of significance and connection, contribution, I hired my coach. And my coach began to help me to get clear about my calling, about what I wanted to achieve. Excuse me. And then the next step was really simple. I began to do the work. Now here's my question. What do you really want to have in your life? I'd invite you to really write that down and consider it. What do you want to have to create? What type of lifestyle? Now, I get it. To walk away from the money that I had, for me, that was really humility. I had to listen to the voice. And now I'm living my purpose. What I'm doing now is what I'll do for the rest of my life. And here it is. I feel called and compelled to teach people how to love their life, how to live on purpose, how to live on fire, how to discover their purpose as I've discovered my purpose, and how to have it all. By having it all, I mean having an epic marriage or relationship with your children or loved ones. How to have a very healthy body where you have energy and you're proud of the way that you look, and you're proud of the way you feel when you put your clothes on. How to have greater purpose and fulfillment and spirituality, whatever that looks like for you. And then, of course, the big part is how to get paid. Would you like to have it all? Let me tell you more about this. So the first step is really this. What do you really want to create? What do you want to have in your life? What do you want to have? And if right now, if you're like me back in 2012, I sat with one of my mentors at his home. Big, beautiful home. Debt-free, houses paid off, cars, living that life. And I got to a point where I gave up on it. I gave up. I said, this is as good as life gets. And I used to say this, I don't think God wants me to succeed. I think I've prospered. I think he just wants me to have it. And as I sat with my mentor, just like I'm sitting with you, my coach and my mentor, my close brother, says this, SETEMA, let me help you to see what you can't see right now. And it's simply this. And he said, I don't believe that God wants us to be poor. Of course, my mind is like, whatever, that's easy for you to say, buddy. Easy for you to say in your big rich home, expensive cars, unlimited money. It says, SETEMA, it's not that way. Hear me out. I don't think that God wants you to be poor. I needed to humble myself and try that new belief system on, try that new possibility on. And now I sit to you from this hotel at the Surfing Center, Laguna Beach, 8 months ago, having walked away from a lot of money, excuse me, to live my purpose, which is to help you get clear on your purpose and to create real, radical results. So step number one in this training, let's get clear. What do you want? What do you want to create? What does it look like? Let's talk about the outcome. So when talking about goals, a lot of times people are very, vague and broad and general. Well, I don't want to have more money, and I don't want to be like mediocre anymore. And there has to be a specific outcome. Like, what does it look like? An outcome, for example, would be in 90 days, I have this, or I achieve this, to the point where you and I could sit face to face 90 days from now, and I say, did you hit your outcome? And it's so measurable that you would either say yes or no. For example, in 90 days, I lose 30 pounds. Or in 90 days, I make $150,000 in my business. Or in 90 days, I take my spouse to New York City, or to the Caribbean, or to Hawaii. In 90 days, I have $3.5 million under contract. It's a simple yes or no. And so this is the first step, is you've got to get clear. Well, friends, what do you really want to accomplish? What do you really want to achieve? Now, I'm sure some of you are like, look, man, I get it. I get it. Okay, what's next? This is not, the next step is, what do you really want? What's the outcome? The next step then is, what's the big problem? The big problem is the obstacle, like the big elephant in the room. What's the big problem? So let's just take, for example, those of you watching this, or whenever you're going to watch this, it's going to be like this. I want to make $100,000 in my real estate business in the next 90 days. Perfect. I can walk up to you and say, yes or no, did you do it? You can say yes or no. Clear, measurable, specific. Second step is simply, what's the big obstacle? Now, for you, the obstacle is going to be, what is stopping you from actually getting that? And just get really clear about it. Third step, break down the big obstacle into all the little problems. Excuse me. Like, break it down, because if you were to hit and establish or evaporate, kill, eliminate all of those small things, your obstacle disappears. You can literally walk up to your goal or your target, give it a hug, hit it, right on track. That's the first step. We got to get so clear. Second step in this training is simply this. Can you be humble? Can you be teachable? See, for me to be humble meant that I was going to go to people younger than me. My manager in 2012, he's like 8 years younger than me. I get it. Sometimes some of us are like, yeah, this young kid doesn't know what he's talking about. I already know. Can't teach an old dog new tricks. Be thou humble, and the Lord thy God shall lead thee, or the universe shall lead thee. Humble means to be open and teachable. In hiring my different coaches, especially in 2013, when I hired my coach, it required me to be humble and to say, just teach me. Just teach me. I'll do whatever it is that you want me to do. Just teach me. Are you humble enough to seek out mentors and advisors and teachers, coaches? And if you go and seek someone out, there's a phrase that said, don't be an ask-hole. Don't be an ask-hole. An ask-hole is when you go and ask someone for advice and you go do the opposite. Look, I had the wake-up call. Sold my Super Bowl ring. Lost my home, my cars, my ego, my pride, my confidence. That was wake-up call. The final wake-up call was time to walk away. Time to walk away from potentially $500,000 to $600,000 in the year 2014. Time to walk away from something, back to the principle of, well, what do I really want? I want to live my highest purpose. I want to live my holy cause and my mission. And so, second step is to be humble. So I hired a coach. My question is this: can you be humble and teachable? How many wake-up calls will it take for you to wake up? How many experiences will it take for you to wake up? To listen to the voice, to heed the warning that you may have something else that you're called to. So I hired my coach. Third step, be committed. Get committed. Let me say that again. Get highly committed. And this is what it means to be committed. It means that you're going to do exactly what you said you're going to do. Let me tell you about commitment. You know, in 2011, as I'm flying to South Carolina to knock doors, we were about 4 years of being broke. 2007, 8, 9, 10, into 11. It's about 4.5 years. As I left my wife and children, I knew we were struggling. My confidence was struggling as a man. The businesses I was working on wasn't working. So you want to talk about commitment. There was no way possible, no way possible that I was going to fail because I was committed. To be committed simply means this: you do exactly what you say you're going to do, no matter what. No matter what. No excuses, no stories. I'm like, tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I'll do it harder, longer, faster. I'll show up early, I'll leave late. I got committed. The reason I was so committed is because I was coming from a place of humility. Teach me. And then before that is, I know what I want. What do you really want to create? What kind of lifestyle do you want to have? What type of relationships do you want to have? What type of business do you want to have? And make it measurable, clear, and specific. So as I'm committed, and as you get committed, all that simply means is you're not going to stop. See, every single day right now, as I sit in this hotel, every single day, I wake up and there's a few things that are just not negotiable for me anymore. And if you've seen any of the videos here on my Facebook page in the last couple of days, you know what I'm talking about. Workout is not negotiable. I need my body to be powerful. I need my body to be healthy. Why? Because I know I want to be alive for my boys. I want to be healthy and attractive and sexy for my beautiful wife. I want to feel good about myself. I want to show up in a Google Hangout or on stage in front of 1,000 people or on the phone with my clients. And I've got to be powerful and certain, because that's how we move life forward in my life's purpose. So working out's not negotiable. That's what it means to be committed. I don't feel like working out. Guess what? Feelings don't matter. You just keep doing it. Studying, praying, meditation is not negotiable. Drinking my green smoothies and eating healthy, not negotiable. Taking my wife out on dates and investing in my wife and my boys, not negotiable. And getting paid as a man, a modern day entrepreneur today, not negotiable. You can't have it all if you're not getting paid or if you're not having incredible relationships. So are you committed? Think about your business right now. And there's an old phrase that says this: you never get what you want, you get what you commit to. And how do we know what's showing up in our lives? It's because what we're committed to. I'm committed to having an epic marriage, real connection with my wife, like intimacy and connection and bonding and communication. And I'm committed to that, and I commit every day. I'm committed to being a best-selling author and a game changer, life changer, coach, and speaker. So I say that every single day. I'm 100% committed. I'm 100% committed to helping you to find, discover, and create and live your highest purpose, to help you to unleash your human potential if you feel called, to get out of cruise control. And I'm 100% committed to helping you to create real radical results. So what are you committed to? Now, sometimes people are like, well, how do I get committed, SETEMA? And it's this simple. You ready? It's this simple. Okay, here we go. I'm going to show you my ritual to get committed. Ready? Here we go. I'm committed. That's it. Like that, it's that simple. Ready? Let me show you again. It's kind of funny, right? You think it's like we got to do like these rituals and things, and it's this simple, guys. I'm committed. I'm 100% committed to building an empire that can leave a legacy for my wife, my boys, and for countless lives who I feel called to preach a message to. A message of the revolution, of liberation, freedom, prosperity, success, and living your highest purpose. Now, some of you out there may be making great money right now, phenomenal money. But like me, there may be an empty pit in your stomach, empty, just this like hollowness. Some of you are striving to make more money to create more time. Here it is. Number one, get clear about what you want to have and create. Specific in the next 90 days, in the next 4 weeks. Number two, be humble, be teachable. Number three, get committed. Get committed. In 2009, as I met this man online, Roberto Monaco, great coach. And the voice said, you need to go see Roberto. Well, this was when we had no money, and I was trying to be this $1 million business owner, but I wasn't willing to pay the price. I wasn't willing to go and pay coaches. I wish someone would have come up to me and said, SETEMA, you're committed. Go pay a coach to help you, or go take the track to go get there, to almost guarantee results. But I felt called to go visit Roberto, so we had just had a baby. It was November, and I said, I got to find a way to go see this coach. I know I have to hire him. He was doing a 3-day event in San Diego, and I had no money. It's $2,000 for tuition, $500 probably for the hotel, another $300 for gas. It was about $3,000 weekend. I was committed because I felt called. So I went and jumped on this site called KSL.com in Utah, sold one of our beds from IKEA, borrowed some money, and scraped up everything I had because I knew I needed to hire this man to help me. He teaches people how to speak. We drove down there, got to the event, walked in late because our car broke down. Everyone's dressed up nice, and I'm sweating. I walk in there with shorts and a t-shirt on, and I look at everyone and I said, I'm committed to getting everything out of this event. I'm going to strip this event dry because I've sacrificed so much to be here. Ironically, I made a lot of money from that event. People hired me to come train them. What's my point? Leads to number 4. Once you're committed, you're going to have to sacrifice. I've learned to sacrifice. Back in my football days, I sacrificed. You sacrifice hanging out, good times, weekends, weekdays, practicing, lifting weights, family vacations, because I was not willing to miss my workouts because I knew what I wanted. I was humble enough to listen to my coaches. I was committed to it, and then I was willing to sacrifice. Are you willing to sacrifice? Another one of my coaches, one of my mentors said this, SETEMA, in order to go up, you've got to give up. So what are you willing to give up today? What stories are you willing to give up? I'm a brown skin, I'm like tall, dark, and handsome guy, right? And I grew up by no one's fault but my own, thinking, well, I'm a Polynesian, and I don't know where I got this from. That's the funny thing, it doesn't matter. But I'm like, you know, I guess Samoans or Polynesians, you know, the brown skin brothers, we're just not going to be like the CEOs and presidents, and we're not meant to be like really wealthy. Like, yeah, we play our guitars, we have a great time, we have a culture, but like it's just not meant to be like that. We're going to be 7- and 8-figure earners, life changers, game changers, legacy. I decided to give up that story and sacrifice. But friends, what are you willing to sacrifice to get exactly what you want? See, it's like this. What do you want? Second step, can you humble yourself to say, look, this is where I'm messed up. This is what I'm missing. Third step, I'm going to get committed to get what I want. Fourth step, I'm going to sacrifice and give things up to get what I want. Why? Because I'm committed. Why? Because I've humbled myself to say, look, I don't know everything, but this is what I want. Whether it's relationships, more spirituality, So I sacrificed. My brothers and sisters, you got to be willing to sacrifice some things right now. That means you get, if you're 400 pounds, sacrifice the food. If your marriage is horrible, well, sacrifice your stories and go make a commitment that you're going to have an epic marriage, and make that commitment every single day. If your business is flailing and you're not getting paid, well, get committed and go hire a coach. What do you need to give up in your life that would allow you to hit your target? As I think about this journey that I've been on, it hasn't been easy. There's been a lot of days where I've had my own doubts, where I've had my own fears, where I've wondered, hey, did I make the right decision walking away from my job last year and knocking doors? Did I make the right decision as I looked at my wife and my boys, trying to figure out how to go and preach a message, how to go and help other people? Fifth thing. So step number one, what exactly do you want to create and have? And get clear, measurable, specific. Step two, humble yourself. Be teachable and be open to the possibilities. Try new possibilities on. If you were like me, who was beat up from having everything taken from you, beat up from the economy, and beat up from having no results, and beat up and started to give into the possibility of, well, this is as good as life gets. Just be humble and try my paradigm on, my perspective. Third thing, get committed. If all you ever had was commitment, you'd get there. Because being committed means you will never, ever, ever stop. No matter what. No matter what you feel, no matter what you think, no matter how your emotions are, no matter what mood you're in, no matter if it's raining. Fourth thing, sacrifice. I've always sacrificed to get to the top of the mountain in my life. And this time was going to be no different. What do you need to give up? My friends, what do you need to sacrifice today so that you can create tomorrow and next week and next month the life that you would really love? And the fifth thing is this: consistency. Consistency. Now, none of these things make sense unless you can see clearly. Let me say that again. None of these things are going to make sense unless you can see that you're missing something in your life. The reason why consistency then becomes the fifth and final piece of my journey is really simple. Like you, I get excited. You go to a mastermind, or you listen to a YouTube video, or you watch, I think the one that most of the people watch, who am I? I'm a champion. I used to watch YouTube videos just to get motivated, just to find passion. But it's hard to operate that way, and it's hard to be consistent if you're not truly committed to a higher cause. See, once you begin to be consistent, that commitment kicks in. By being consistent, I mean this. Every single day I say this: I'm 100% committed to, and I start listing everything out. Why? Because I know what I want to create. Because I've humbled myself to work with my coaches, and I'm open to new possibilities. Oh, wait, you mean SETEMA? I could be rich. I could go and make my money back for the third time. I could make $100,000 a month. I could actually put my kids in private school. I could take my entire family to Hawaii or on a cruise. I could help pay off my parents' debts. I could do that. That requires humility. Trying something new on. Third step, get committed. I'm committed to you. I'm committed to those who want to create real radical results. Committed to my beautiful wife. Committed to my 3 sons. Committed to living my higher purpose and fulfilling my holy contract here on earth. And I'm committed to helping others to do the same. Am I willing to sacrifice? It takes a lot. When you're stuck, when you feel depressed or discouraged, or like things aren't just going to happen, I just kept sacrificing, giving up my stories, giving up the Super Bowl ring to put milk inside of my refrigerator, selling and giving up my wife's wedding ring so we could put gas in the car. And then being consistent. Now, every single day, I'm so consistent, working on my craft, reading my books, studying, meditating, doing my power rituals. I call it my rituals, routines, and rhythms. Rituals, routines, and rhythms. Because you do those rituals, routines, and rhythms, they create daily habits. The habits is, the quote says, we form our habits and our habits form us. Can you get consistent? You know, it's one thing to get excited about watching a YouTube video. It's one thing to get excited about watching a Google Hangout. It's one thing to get excited to come to a beautiful beach like this. Watching, going to a training, going to a mastermind, going to a Tony Robbins event. But can you be consistent? Can you be consistent in your daily activities? Here's my thing for you. I can help you and I can go over all these things night and day. And I can actually create a lot of, set this here on my, oh, okay, there we go. And I can actually talk about these principles. One of the best things that's going to really help you is to get really honest with yourself right now. Just get honest. Like, what do you really want to have? I'm going to ask that question over and over again. Because every time we forget about the goal that we have, whether it's to travel, to put more money in the account, to have more time, to lose weight, to take care of our parents, every time we lose sight of that, we lose our commitment, we lose our power. And the greatest thing that I did, something that's very consistent, is simply this, is I've hired coaches, hired mentors. Paid a lot of money too, because I'm committed. It's just really that simple. Now I get it. Some of you may be like, well, Tim, I don't have a lot of money to pay coaches or to work in masterminds. And here's what I would have you consider. Just consider the possibility that you have the power to change your life right now. You have the power to make a choice, to choose the lifestyle that you want to have. You have the power to go and figure out a way to create the life that you truly want to have. And that's what this whole Google Hangout is about. I've been there. I've lost it all. Not once, but twice. And there were big losses. So here's my invitation to you. Obviously, I coach. And I would love to have a conversation with each one of you. So on the page that you're watching this on, there should be a link that says click here or join now. It should be to the right if you're watching this on the page. And it's just this simple. We've still got about 30 minutes where I'm going to answer questions and go over certain things. And we're going to talk about, a lot of people filled out questions that I'm going to answer. But I'd love to have a conversation with you if you're committed to it. The conversation is not going to be one of those hardcore sales calls where it's like, you got to do this. It's just really simple. Here's the criteria. If you're a person who wants to get out of that being quote unquote stuck, or who wants to get their life to the next level, or who wants to stop procrastinating, or who wants to take care of their business, who wants to have more spirituality and purpose, if you're that person, I'd invite you to fill out the form to the right. Click on the button. You and I will have a really frank and candid conversation about what it would take for you to have it all in your life. It'd be a very powerful phone call. We'll talk about what you want to create. I'll take a look at the questionnaire, because that would help me to come into the phone call more powerfully with you. But I can promise you this. If you're willing, let's have a conversation. Let's just figure out exactly what you want to accomplish. Now, what I want to do at this time is just be true to my word and answer a couple questions here. So quite a few questions came out. And And the questions are really coming out. Holy smokes. So here we go. I'm going to answer some questions for you right now. And by the way, if you're watching this, if you go to my Facebook page, I've actually put a link for you to put more questions there, because I'll answer your questions real time. Now, some of you might be saying, well, tell me, what makes you qualified to answer my questions? Let me just help you see a distinction in what coaching can do when you have someone to help you to see what you can't see. Maybe someone that you can actually lean on. See, the scriptures teach this: if you can no more than desire to believe, then let that belief work in you. My coaches have helped me to do the same thing. So back in November, I did an event. It was at a place called My Noah. Some of you may have seen me when I talked about losing my Super Bowl ring. I'm going to do this 2-hour event. I went and did a 2-hour training. It was phenomenal. People had some great experiences. And then I had people join me for a coaching group, 6-week coaching group. It was $1,000 a person. I had half a dozen people join me for that thing. 2 months later, because I've been working with my coaches, who were helping me to uncover the blind spots, what ended up happening was then I was now charging 15 to 25 to 50 times what I had charged in November. I only share that with you to help you make some distinctions. If you're willing, you can make some quantum exponential leaps in your life. Like, I'm done being where I want to be, because I was that way. I was done. I did not want to continue to do what I was doing. So let me go ahead and answer some questions for you right now, and let's make some distinctions here to help you in your life. Here's one of the questions that says this: I've been in sales all my life. I love the connection with people. Every time I set a goal with a new company, I've done it. However, I get complacent and get lazy. Now I want to get out of my own way, do my own thing, doing consumer direct marketing. I've done it again. I hit my first 2 months. How do I stay committed? Great question. So maybe you've been that way, like, you're an overachiever, you're an achiever, you hit your goals, and then you kind of get stuck and you get complacent and get lazy. Okay, there's a book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. Phenomenal book, highly recommend it. It talks about upper limits. See, as human beings, we have this thing called an upper limit. Now again, try it on. Try this on. Try the new possibility on. The new, in fact, I'm going to switch spots here. I like this over here. Check this out. So let me answer your question. Okay. So an upper limit is like this. As human beings, let's say we're living right here. What happens is when life gets really good, right? Really good in marriage, or like we're making all this money, there's something called an upper limit. The upper limit is like, oh shoot, it's like a ceiling or a lid. It's a limit. We hit it, and the upper limit kicks in, and it's like, oh shoot, you know what? Life is too good. I better find a way to screw it up. So we get complacent, we get lazy, and instead of continuing to climb, we hit the upper limit and drop back down. And marriage is good, and the relationships are good, and life is good. And you're going to church, you're meditating, you're finding purpose in the wilderness, and like everything's going good. Life is so good. Oh, I'm going to hit my upper limit. Life is too good. I can't handle this. Then we come right back down. See, the problem is this. Number one, try this on. You have an upper limit problem. We all do. But are you committed to having your life go right all the time? I'd have you try that on. Are you committed to having your life go right all the time? This goes back to being committed. Can you stay committed? You're like, well, how do I stay committed? You ready? Here we go. Declare it. Simply declare that you are going to be committed. Say, I'm committed, and say that every day. And the great thing about this is it has nothing to do with motivation. It has nothing to do with watching YouTube videos. It has nothing to do with, like, vision. But hey, vision boards are great. I love you, my vision board people. But it's simply this. Become a person that when you speak something into existence, it's done. You think I wake up every day like on fire and passionate? Now, some people think I do. I have people that are like, man, do you ever have a bad day? And just ask my wife. There are days when my boy's crawling to my bed and I'm exhausted. And I'm like, oh, and it's like 6:30. I got to get up. I got to get up, And it's simply this. Can I be the person that I said I was going to be? See, we want to make commitment to be this thing way out there. No, 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 no. Commitment is just you simply saying, I'm committed. I'm committed. I'm 100% committed. So my friend, find your holy cause. So here's my first, okay? Number one, recognize the upper limits in your life. They're there. You got to break through those upper limits. Like reach. Number two, get committed. And the way to get committed is to declare it. Number three, find a holy cause in life, holy purpose. When I was knocking doors, my holy cause was simple. My wife and my kids were starving. And I knew I needed to do more to provide. And I had a greater calling. And there was no way I was going to get there unless I broke through. So recognize your upper limits. Get committed by saying, I'm simply saying I'm committed and fulfilling. Number three, find a holy cause. Like what's bigger than money? Why do you want the money? Why do you want the sales recognition? Find a holy cause. Next question is, excuse me, what are your blank rates to work with you? Well, that's pretty simple. What are my rates? What are the rates to work with me? Good question. Go fill out the questionnaire on the Google Hangout page. You and I will have a conversation. Really, really simple. That answers that question. Sweet, I love it. Thanks for being honest. Next question. How do you find passion when you don't feel like you have any? Great question. Here we go. So this idea of creating your life, like creating it, not having life happen to you, but creating your life is really simple. How do I find passion? It's really simple. Ready? Here we go. Here's the magic wand. Here we go. You create the passion. And the way that you create the passion, you ready? Is to, number one, get clear about what you want to create, what you want to have, what you want to achieve. Now, again, the belief system inside of some of us who've been beat up, I was beat up, so I stopped dreaming. There was a time where I was like, hey, I want a Mercedes Benz, and I want an Escalade, and I want to travel the world. And I used to be like, man, BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. Right after getting beat up by the economy, bankruptcy, government assistance, selling my Super Bowl ring, I was like, people are like, what do you really want to have, SETEMA? Well, that's a dumb question. Why do you even ask that question? Because we can't even really have it all. So don't even ask it. I mean, I just want to be happy. I don't need money. I just need to be happy. Break through. Just try this on. What do you really want to create? See, once you get clear about this BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal, it should scare you and excite you. Your goals and targets, listen up. Your goals and targets should, number one, they should scare you. And number two, they should excite you to the point where when you get up in the morning, your goal's like, sometimes you're like, I don't want to get out of bed. That goal's too big. And sometimes you're like, I can't wait to get out of bed because my goal is so big. And when I get it, holy smokes, life will be so dang good. So remanufacture the passion. Get clear about what you want. And then just state it. Just declare it. You know, it's like, just say it. Look, I'm going to be passionate about life. And then fulfill exactly what you say. I love the scriptures that says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was good, and the Word was with God. And God said, let there be light, and there was. Boom! Light. There was light. God's word was so powerful. When he spoke it, it happened. So develop that sense in you and your ability to say, look, this is who I want to be, and I'm going to go be it. Next question. Great questions, by the way. I love it. Okay, here we go. Nope, someone didn't fill that out all the way. Okay, next question is this. Here we go. I want to bring my life into balance to find my purpose and align my path with his will. I'm assuming that's going to be God. Help, capitalize, so it is. Helping as many people as I can along the way. How important is faith in the Savior and what you do, speaking to me, and can I be successful following those eternal and righteous principles? That was a personal question, and I read it out loud. Oh, what drives you? Who, what, when, where, and why is my purpose? I already know the when. That is right now. What are your top 5 books? Yeah, this person was, okay, specific. I love it. So let's just answer this. What's your morning routine? Now, I go over this in my coaching and my programs, but my morning routine's simple. It's my climbing the mountain. See, I come from a Christian background. Believe in Christ, God-fearing men, pray, family home evening, family prayer, sing hymns, go to church on Sundays. Not supposed to go outside on Sundays, how I grew up. But my morning ritual is simple. I want to be like Moses, who starts my day in the top of the mountain. It involves prayer, scripture study, exercise, meditation, family prayer, and that's mine. I keep it simple. I know that I need to attack certain parts of my being to activate and wake it up so that I can start the day. It's like the daily divine reset, coming to the top of the mountains. See, here's the thing. A lot of people just kind of roll out of bed. Can't happen. I teach my boys how to be powerful. I coach them up. Take my boys to school, go hit the gym, come home, have my green smoothie. It's clockwork. So that's my first thing. My mornings are powerful. Now here's the thing. You only do those rituals, routines, and rhythms on the days that you want power. Really simple. You only do those routines, rituals, and rhythms on the days that you want power. If you don't want power, then don't do it. But when you want to have power to operate at high levels and produce high levels and deal with life, you do your routines, rituals, and rhythms. Study, meditation, prayer. There's a lot of different things you can do. Exercise, wake up. Okay? What are you reading? I read like 5 different books at once. In fact, what I'll do is I will take a picture of all the books on my Kindle and I'll send them out and put them on my Facebook page. You can see the books that I'm reading. Because I read like 5 books at once. I'm always reading. I love to read. Constantly filling my mind. What are the top 5 books? Who, what, when, where, and why is my purpose? Okay. Here's the thing about purpose. A lot of times I use the words, you want to find your purpose. That's a good thing, but I would say create your purpose. Create your purpose. And how do you create it? By declaring exactly what you want to create and then go and fulfill it. See, nobody outside of you can come give you your purpose. Even God gives us agency to create the purpose. It's not meet that I should command you in all things. I shouldn't compel you. We can go do a lot of things of our own free will and choice. So create it. Back to the question. Ready? Ta-da! What do you really want to have in your life? What drives me? What drives me? Great question. My calling. I feel called to do what I'm doing. So I walked away from a lot of money. I feel called to preach a message, to wake men and women up. I feel called to write books, to do radio shows, to do Google Hangouts, to help coach people to become who they really want to become. And what drives me, to look into my wife's eyes, and I always get emotional when I talk about my wife and my boys, but I want to be the man who my boys can look up to and say, my daddy's my hero. My daddy's Captain America. My daddy's Thor, Iron Man. My daddy's Superman. Holy smokes, my daddy's got some biceps. Holy smokes, my daddy can dunk a ball. And I want my wife to look at me and say, damn, my husband is so good looking. Wow, he's in shape. And man, I love my husband. He thinks of me. He's in love with me. Like John Legend says, all my wife's curves and edges. All of my wife. That's what drives me. It's my holy cause. Now, for some of you who are single, or maybe you're not at that point where that drives you, what would be your passion? What would be your holy cause? What would it be that would allow you to operate at such a level of energy that would drive you to go hit the BHAGs? Find it. And then the next step of finding it would be to create it. And the way you create it is to simply declare it with your language. Love the question. Last question this person had, and I love it. The question was simply this. Oh my gosh, this thing says we're finishing in 5 minutes, so I guess I only set this for 1 hour, so it's gonna get moving. Question was this: How do I find happiness, stability, making money, and also being spiritual? This is my belief that God wants me to succeed, that God wants me to be in a position where I can give back. See, in my religion, where I go to church, churches are built with money. I attend these things called a temple. So it's an LDS temple. Temples are built with money. People get fed with money that buys food to send food to people who need. So I used to have the belief that God didn't want me to succeed. And now I have the belief that God wants me to succeed and is calling me to go make a lot of money by helping a lot of people, by doing what I love to do, by doing what I feel called to do, which is to coach, to liberate, to preach, to help. Great question. Thank you so much. Let's go to this question right here. I just got more messages, people texting in. Holy smokes. Question for the Google Hangout. What is the 6-week breakthrough program and what will it do for me? Well, fill out the questionnaire and you and I will have a one-on-one conversation. That's a very personal, sacred conversation that you and I will have for those who want to have a conversation with me. Next question, would you tell me a little bit about the book and why I should buy it? Where can I buy it? You know, the book comes about from, I met a man back in, and I wish you guys could see what I'm seeing here. This is like incredible. Can you see that? Like this, the ocean and the sunset and the beach. It's awesome. I met a man by the name of Les McGuire, one of my coaches. And he used to start his radio show by saying, my name is Les McGuire, and I am the man who loves his life. I like stole that from him, and I'm like, my name is SETEMA GALI, and I am the man who loves his life. And the book is literally about loving your life. No matter what. No matter the bankruptcies, no matter the divorces, no matter if you've lost a loved one, no matter how hard the road is, no matter the cancer, no matter the sickness, no matter what, can you love your life? And the book simply talks about how you can love your life, no matter what. Talks about all my struggles, my depression, the bankruptcy, a lot of things we've covered here today, but a lot of journal entries. So pick up the book. The book's on sale, pre-sale right now. I'll put a link out there for everyone. But you'll love it. It's like my heart and my soul. It's also a record for my boys, for my legacy, my people out there. Let's go to some more questions. SETEMA, how do I work with you? Great question. Fill out the form, and you and I will have a very candid conversation. And I've got people saying that they're ready for their one-on-ones, that they're ready. Can you give me some information on your business or something I can... Okay, so here's the question. This comes from, looks like someone who's probably from the island, says, hey, I want to help my people out. Now this answer's not just for Polynesians. Your people could be like different colors, but the people that you're called to preach to. How do you help them? You ready for this? 2 things. Number 1, mindset. Your mindset has to be unstoppable. Imagine an athlete going on to court. Today, it's like LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. My day was Michael Jordan. The mindset has to be so powerful that it drives you to, ready for number 2, skill set. There's an old saying that says, dollars follow value. So you go create value for people, and you end up making money, because dollars always follow value. Like I'm on a MacBook Pro. I don't know if you could see this. Yeah, there it is. You can kind of see my laptop there. Paid a lot of money for this thing because I value it. And the fastest way to manifest your ability to create value in the marketplace is really simple. Skills. Skill sets. So train your mindset. Number 2, develop skill sets. That is like one of the fastest ways that you can create value in the marketplace. It's what I did in sales. It's what I did with what I'm doing as a coach. It's what I did in football. Constantly taking care of my skills. Let's go out to the next questions. And I appreciate, first of all, thank you all for being here. Again, it takes a lot of time for you guys to be here. So next question would be this. SETEMA, gone through depression. I need some help. Just scroll to get to this. Okay, how did I pull myself out of depression? Number one, well, I would take you down those things, but let me just tell you this right here. When I was depressed, I was sad. I was like sad as an understatement. I couldn't move. I'd sit around trying to figure out what was wrong with my life. And I continued to dig deep into the reservoirs of faith that I had built early in my life. For me, I believe in God. I kept thinking, God, I know you're there. Just tell me what to do. Tell me where to go. And I'd spend days on my knees praying and fasting. Then there's an old quote that says, more prayers are answered on our feet rather than on our knees. I began to work. And I began to move my feet. The worst thing you can do when you get depressed or down because you've lost something or someone is to stop. I kept moving. I kept moving. Literally from one house to the next, downgraded, one house to the next, downgraded, and I just kept moving. Then I went as a door-to-door salesman, moving from Texas to Iowa to Georgia to South. I just kept moving and working. Keep moving forward. Great old movie, Meet the Robinsons. It's a Disney favorite of my boys. But the key is to keep moving forward. I love what author John Maxwell says. It's not what happens to us that makes us powerful. It's what happens within us that makes us powerful. I'm going to keep answering these questions as they come in. Here we go. Next question. Let's see. Let's wrap this up in 5 minutes. So if you got a question, go ahead and post it up there. And we'll go ahead and put some of these up here. Okay. Question. SETEMA, I have a business coaching. Let me read this real quick for you. Okay. The question is, SETEMA, I have a business that requires me to have clients. Should I get online and shoot videos like you? Well, we're going to go back to the question of what do you really want to have? Like, what do you really want to create and have by when? And we can go through this stuff. But here's the thing. Let me teach you something that's really powerful when it comes to coaching. You know, when someone comes to a web designer and says, I want a website. I want a website. The amateur is going to say, sweet, I charge $50 an hour. What do you want your website to look like? And then they'll talk about it. He'll get paid, and then this guy's going to have a website. The truth is this. The customer who wants a website, ready? He doesn't want a website. He doesn't. Now, maybe he does, but the professional coach or professional would say, well, why do you want a website? Well, because I want to have more customers. Oh, so you want to have more customers? Yeah. Well, you want more customers so what? So I can have more money. Perfect. So you actually want more money from more customers, and you feel that a website would help you to do that. See, this is the power of having a coach in your life. You're asking me a question. Well, should I do what you do? I don't know. I don't know your business model. I don't know what your metrics are and what your strategy is. But my suggestion would be to fill out the link, let you and I have a one-on-one, really candid conversation. This is what I would share with you guys in closing, and I think I've got one more question here coming in. Here we go. And then tonight, my wife and I, we get to go and watch one of my nephews play volleyball here in Southern California. The great thing about living a life that you love is that you can go have it all. You can work hard, play hard, work out hard, love hard, and go watch volleyball, and go watch sports, and do whatever you want to do, if that makes sense. So here's the question. Okay, SETEMA, I don't have money to pay you. Now that's a funny question. It's really not a question. The question was basically, how do I find the resources to work with someone like you? And let me share how this works. So back in 2010, I come home in our little townhome, gone from 6,000 square feet to 1,000 square feet in a 4-year period. And there's this van in my driveway, and I walk into my house, and there's this guy doing a Kirby vacuum presentation on my floor. At that time, we had no milk in our fridge. We were broke. We were broker than broke. I had no money. The guy was like slashing the prices, and he just didn't understand I was not in a place where I was ready to give any money for anything. So I get that. So if that's you, the best thing you can do would be to go get a job and get stable and kind of take care of yourself. Because what I do is not therapy. And there are incredible therapists out there. But if you're the person who's committed to really making a major transformation in your life, like massive transformation, epic transformation, to create epic results, you go do what you need to do. In other words, go borrow money, raise money, find money to hire a coach, if that's your path. I did the same thing, and I have people doing the same thing to work with me, and I will continue to have coaches in my life. Here's the greatest thing about working with coaches and masterminds. If I could go back to 2007 and 2008, when I lost everything, temporally and materially, if I could go back to those times, people are like, well, what would you do if you had to do it again? Everything was perfect. But if I went back, what I would do differently would simply be this. Number one, I would make sure that I kept my power and certainty. Power and certainty. When your power and certainty is where it needs to be, you can do anything. It's like you're unstoppable. Number two, when I sold my Super Bowl ring, instead of taking the cheap route and living for 4 or 5 months, trying to build my own business, trying to do it by myself, I would have went and hired a coach. Because in hiring my coach in the last 7 months, 8 months ago, then hiring another one in December, then hiring another coach in January, my coaching fees have gone up 15 up to 50 times what I was coaching. I can come down and spend time on the beach with my brothers in the movement and get coached up and see what I can't see, what I wasn't able to see before. So that's what I do differently. Let me leave you with this conversation before I end the Google Hangout. And it's simply this. If you would like to have a candid conversation with me, fill out the form. You can find the form at transformwithsetema.com or runwiththerev.com if you're watching this broadcasted. And let's have a conversation. Now, one of two things happens in these conversations. There's a fit or there isn't. Like, it's just that simple. But we talk about what you want to create. And the people that I work with, my biggest requirement is this. Only one requirement for me. I used to have like 4 or 5. Got to be coachable and open-minded and blah, 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 blah. I got rid of all those. Only one thing. You ready? You got to be highly committed. Highly committed. Highly committed. To be highly committed simply means that you're willing to alter your behaviors and actions and to fulfill on exactly what you said you were going to do. So fill out the form. If you'd like to get out of cruise control, fill out the form. If you'd like to live your higher purpose, fill out the form. Let's have a conversation. My mission in life is really simple. I help other people to unleash their human potential because they feel called to, number 2, live a higher purpose in life, and number 3, to fulfill their holy cause and their mission here on earth. And if that's you, and you're ready to make a change in your life, like transformation, and you're wanting to level up, we use the words level up, meaning get to the next level, get to the next level, get to the next level, let's have a conversation. I'd love to. This is SETEMA GALI, the Reverend of the Revolution, reminding you that if you want to create the life that you love, you're going to have to get into a relentless pursuit with the ruthless commitment to paying the price to get to the top of the mountain where your prize and your promised land awaits you. Fill out the form. Let's have a conversation. And I look forward to having another Google Hangout where I can share simple, powerful principles that have transformed my life to help you to transform your life. I love you. Have an incredible day. I'm out.